Hey folks, if you enjoy any of our content, I encourage you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with friends and family. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Hey folks, Guns Gear on Target training out here in Oregon. Really excited to talk today about a great pistol from Sig Sauer. This is the P365XL. A number of months ago, I had the opportunity to shoot a Sig P365X, and I was somewhat skeptical, frankly. I was like, yeah, I don't know, that trigger looks kind of weird, and whatever, I had some kind of weird hang-up. And then I shot the thing, and I was like, holy moly, this thing is accurate. It is really accurate, and it's a very gentle, soft shooting pistol for its size. So I had the opportunity to shoot the P365XL recently as part of a break-in period. And there is so much to like about this particular pistol, compact pistol. So we're going to talk about some of the things I like. And I'm going to start because I can only think of two things that I'm unhappy with, but they may just be personal gripes of mine. The first is the fact that the gun comes with standard with either two 12-round magazines if you live in a state that doesn't have magazine restrictions, or if you do and you're you have to comply by using a 10-round magazine, so then it would come to you with two 10-round magazines. All of that's well and good. But Sig does make a 15-round magazine. I think for the average person who's purchasing this type of pistol, generally for concealed carry, the ability to have 12 and a 15-round magazine would be a much better thing as a consumer. I would have been much happier with that. The 12-round magazines are fine. I have some 15-round magazines on order. I'm sure they'll be great, but I just feel like, yeah, Sig got that wrong. The second thing that I have found shooting the gun, I've only put 250 rounds through it, so I acknowledge up front this could be a training issue versus the gun issue, but the gun has a very, very small, and I would say almost pressed flat against the gun itself, a mag release. And so that magazine release button is so flush to the gun, it's hard to get it to activate without, because of my small hands maybe, but without getting the gun from a firing grip into something else, and then having to sort of move my thumb position to get to it because it's so flush. It's like almost recessed. I do believe there's an aftermarket part that I'll probably check out, because it's really frustrating when you're got the gun locked back and then you're you're trying to get that mag release, hit the mag release button, which is there it is, just not particularly easy to manipulate. But other than that, let's talk about all the great things I do like about this pistol. First of all, its shootability. It's a very, very comfortable gun to shoot, especially given its size and its weight. The barrel length of 3.6 inches is really, I think for me, sort of the ideal length. Normally I shoot a 4-inch pistol or something close to that in a Glock 48 or Glock 19 or M&P 9mm compact. I just prefer the slightly longer slides to the subcompacts, but this one feels perfect. Ergonomics of the gun are exceptional. Very easy, it's just a natural pointer. Press out and your sights are on. It has the extended beaver tail, which for me just fits my hands so incredibly well. I generally like that beaver tail design. This is one of my reasons that I like the M&P first gen pistols. I like that extended beaver tail. It just helps my hand get up really high into the tang, and on presentations, it just works for me better. Very narrow and somewhat flat frame. Yes, it's a double stacked magazine, but it's the thing feels like really small. And for a concealed carry type of pistols, that's, to me, that means most people are much more going to be more comfortable with a gun that is big enough to do what it needs to do, but also small enough that it is not difficult at all to conceal, either in an inside waistband holster at 4 o'clock or at 2 o'clock or wherever else that you want to carry it. The sights are exceptional. Sig calls this their X-ray 3-dot day-night sights. Great name, I guess. But what I like about them is the front sight has a very, very strong green hue. Partially this is tritium, and it is an outline to that tritium, makes it very easy to pick up. Green is actually the easiest color for our eyes to pick up and adjust to. Now, some people like red, that's fine. I'm just telling, for me, when I have a choice, I go with green dots for optics, for quote red dot, but green dot optics is what I prefer. They're just faster. I see them better. The rear sight is set up here, and I really like this. So you have the tritium inserts, but essentially, if you're not in the dark, you're seeing just that front sight and essentially a black rear, which I've always found much faster to acquire rather than a 3-dot system, which requires that I align the dots, right, the two rear and the front, so that bright front sight, I just can pick that up and find and acquire it and find both the vertical and horizontal orientation of the sights very, very quickly. Interestingly enough, next that I like with this gun, and I wasn't sure I will, is the trigger. So the flat-faced angled trigger means that the trigger breaks much farther forward than you would expect. So we've confirmed there's nothing in the chamber here. As I press the trigger, there's slack, right? And it is kind of gritty up to that point. But essentially, the trigger breaks at 90 degrees. And that, to me, feels very, very natural. So press, break. Yes, there's some slack in there. And yes, it's not perfect. But again, it is a stock gun designed for personal protection, carry. It's a pretty gosh darn good trigger. Nice tactile reset. And it's a short reset, so it doesn't require you to go very far to get it. And to me, oh, it's really good. Combine that, or maybe because of the sights and the trigger, it's very, very accurate. It can shoot way better than I can shoot it. We shot 3.57, kind of our standard step back drills, and 3.5 yards, I was just getting these really tight 1-inch groups, and for a pistol that I didn't know whatsoever in a break-in period, I was like, wow, man, this thing is great. Step back to 25 and no problem ringing steel. Went all the way back to 50, and I wasn't as good as I'd hoped to be, and essentially getting 5 out of 10 shots on our steel that we had out there, which is effectively the upper torso size of a body. But I think that's more to do with me, the shooter, not knowing the gun than it is the gun. So overall, from a performance standpoint, it outperformed what I thought it would do. And I was really surprised because it actually fit in my Glock 48 holster that I normally carry. And, guys, thing about holsters here, don't just use a holster that works with one gun with another gun. Get a specific holster for it. So I am getting a specific holster for the Sig It's on order. I'm waiting for it. But yesterday, I was just doing uplook press drills, and I was using the Glock holster. Obviously, I tested it first, right? Nothing in the gun, made sure that everything was safe. But it was interesting because the holster completely covered the trigger and the trigger guard. And the way in which the gun went right into the holster, you know, push comes to shove, I could certainly use that holster. Don't recommend it, guys. Get a specific holster for each of your firearms. Like, it just makes a lot more sense. But it did fit in my Glock 48 holster. That was impressive. Right out of the box, a 13 round capacity in a very small package with great sights, already set up. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it's already set up to put a Red Dot Optic on it. So it's already cut. That, to me, guys, like when you go to buy a pistol these days, is something to consider, because the technology and sort of the craft is evolving to use red dots on pistols. Sig has set it up so it's all ready to go. You can throw your you know, a red dot or green dot, as I prefer, on the gun. So that, to me, is really great, because I can just have a gun I can throw on that optic, or I can just use the really nice sights that are already on the gun. Pretty sweet. Okay, folks, so what we're doing right now is shooting the new, to me, 365XL from Sig Sauer. So in that first string, first 11 shots I've shot with this particular firearm, got a decent group, got one or two that are out, and that one that's high and right, that is totally me. It was just a mash. Initial feeling of it is it's a new gun. There's a little bit of squish in the trigger, but the break in the trigger is farther forward than the Glock 48 that I typically carry. I like that. I don't have to go back as far. The reset is distinct and clean. The sights are very, very good and make it very easy to come back on the front sight in the follow-through. With it. All right, let's reload and try some more. I'm liking it. Now, from 7 yards, okay, shoot at the number 1 out there, 7 yards away. with the exception of the one I threw out from 7 yards, all of those are in a 2-inch group. And frankly, guys, that's better than I usually shoot with my Glock 48. So I've only got 48 rounds through the gun. So we're gonna put another couple hundred rounds through it today, try to break it in a little bit. And I'm super impressed so far with what I'm seeing out there in our targets. Well guys, like I said, we'll keep you in the loop and keep you posted as we continue shooting the pistol. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, stay safe. And now it's 50.